Hey folks, welcome to PlayBranson, the show where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. I'm your host, Chris Meyer, and today's show is brought to you by iBranson.com, where you can find lots of great information about Branson shows and attractions. So if you're looking for the latest show schedules, go to iBranson.com. Our show today, we have David Brooks, and it's been a really long time since David has been on the show. In fact, it's been 4 years. David has a new show in Branson this year called On Fire, the Jerry Lee Lewis life story. He's also part of The Hits, another new show, the $1 Million Quartet, and a couple more. I think David is one of the Branson's hardest working entertainers, and I look forward to hearing about his new projects later in the show. Did you know we launch a new episode every week, and it airs each night at 8 p.m. on the Vacation Channel? That's Channel 6 on the Optimum cable or 36-1 if you watch by antenna. Other past episodes play throughout the day on the Vacations channel. So if you've missed a recent episode, you can find that on the Vacation channel throughout the day. You can also always find us on social media, on Facebook, and our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlayBranson. I also want to let you know that we have our new PlayBranson magazine out. You can find it at over 100 locations, and guess what? It's free. It's a great way to learn about everything going on in the Branson area, so be sure to pick one of those up here in the Branson area. We'll be right back with David Brooks on PlayBranson.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson. On today's show, I have the one and only David Brooks. David, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. It's been a minute, but I'm glad to be here.
I looked to this morning, and it's been 4 years since you've been on the show.
That has been a minute.
So you've done a lot in those 4 years.
Just a little bit.
And maybe someone doesn't know who you are, but you're on several different shows here in Branson. And we're going to talk about those in the second half of the show, but you have your own show. Tell people what that is, just real quick.
I have a Jerry Lee Lewis show. For those who don't know me, that's the role that most people know me by here in Branson. I got the opportunity to portray Jerry Lee Lewis when $1 Million Quartet came to town in 2015, and I was there for 2 seasons. And a lot of people remember me from that role. And everybody asks me over the years since then, when are you going to do Jerry Lee again? Where are you going to be Jerry Lee again at? Well, we were already in the works of putting this show together. The show's called On Fire. It's at the Branson Event Center in the Branson Meadows. And it is a 2-hour show of the life history of Jerry Lee, good, bad, ugly. We gloss over some of the ugly.
and then you're part of another show called The Hits.
Yes. And
$1 Million Quartet. And we want to talk about all that here in a moment. But you got to take us way back.
Okay.
Like, how did you get into this business? And I know it started at a young age for you, right?
Yes. I had my first professional job pretty much straight out of high school. I had the opportunity to play gospel music with a family group a lot of people know known as the Hensons, and got to play on their reunion tour with them. And
when you say play, you're playing piano.
I'm playing piano, yes.
Right? Okay.
And then over those subsequent years, I got to play for a few other groups as well in that genre of music, Southern gospel. And then I moved to Branson in 2003. Yeah, I have to remember back. It takes me a minute. 20 years. Goodness. Wow. And I'm only 20 years old. No, 20 years ago, I moved to Branson and had the opportunity to play a show that a lot of people still remember, known as 50s at the Hop. Oh, yeah. And from there, I've just been in about every theater at some point over the last 20 years, and it's been a wonderful ride.
Yeah, so lots of different shows, but you grew up in Arkansas.
I did.
Whereabouts in Arkansas?
Central Arkansas, just outside of Little Rock, a town. Well, I graduated from Lone Oak High School, so just about 20 miles, 25 miles toward Memphis from Little Rock. I'm directionally challenged, so that's the reason I did not say east, because if I have to think about it, then I'm probably going to say it wrong.
Yeah. So I had to hear on my notes that you used to work at a post office.
Oh, yes. That was very short-lived. I was a postman for about half a minute, and then I got a call to go play for Jody Messina for a couple of weeks, so I bailed.
There you go. There you go. And you mentioned that you played for these groups, these Southern gospel groups. Talk about how that even kind of happened. So when did you start playing piano, and when did that?
My parents put me in lessons when I was about 6 years old, and I think that all had to do with the fact that we always had a piano in the house because my mom plays, and she was our church piano player, so we were always in church. And so I had grown up around gospel music and was like second nature to me. So it really wasn't to anybody's surprise that I started playing for local groups and stuff like that. By the time I was, early teens, I was traveling around playing every weekend just about. And then when I graduated high school, I'd always said, if there was ever a group that I wanted to play for, it was the Hensons, and I knew they were disbanded, and so I didn't really think that was going to happen. But when the opportunity did arise, I bugged the snot out of them until I got what I wanted.
So you were very persistent.
I was very persistent. Yes, some people would say on the verge of stalkerish.
Well,
but hey,
that's what kind of launched your career in the music business.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah. Yeah. That is wild. And so you did that. How long did you do that for?
They that tour was only not even a whole year, just a few months before they diagnosed Kenny with cancer. And then after that, they kept saying they were going to do more dates, but it didn't happen. So, and he passed away 2 years after that. So it was short-lived, but it definitely helped launch me to where I wanted to be.
So what happened right after that then?
Oh, I played for a number of other groups. I played for the Anchorman, Gold City, and the New Hensons, which is a group that Bo had, and during their #1 song, Oasis, which was written by Kenny and Ronnie when he was in the hospital. And so that's kind of where I spent that last remainder of the 90s, was doing that kind of stuff before I moved here.
Was Branson on your radar at that point in time?
I'd always known about Branson, and I'd always thought in the back of my mind it'd be kind of nice, but I'm really one of these people that likes to have a plan and like to have my ducks in a row. And I'm not going to move somewhere if I don't have a job. So I always said, well, it'd be nice, but I'm not going to move all the way up there if I don't have a job already in place. So, and as luck would have it, if that's what you want to call it, several years later, I saw an ad that somebody had placed for a show in Branson. And I don't even remember what website it was on. I couldn't even tell you now. But it was a friend of a guy who I eventually went to work for that was working at 50th at the Hop at the time, and they were needing a keyboard player. And so that's how it was really just kind of a flip of the coin. It really wasn't a long drawn out process. I came up here, I played, they hired me. I mean, that's about all there was to it.
Yeah. So you, in that respect, got into Branson kind of easily, the music scene.
I did, yes and no. I mean, there are areas where it's harder than others because a lot of times, it's all in who you know. And so if you don't know the right people, or if you're not in the right place at the right time, you've heard that phrase or at least I have all my life, but that's really true, especially in this business. You got to know who to talk to at the time that they need somebody. So it's just kind of, yes, it was easy, but it was also very chance that it happened.
So tell people a little bit about your musical journey up until the point you're doing the shows now. So what you said, you've been in a lot of different shows. So kind of tell someone maybe some of those shows that you've been in.
Oh, goodness. Let's see. 03, I was in the Hop. 04, I played in the Legends and Concert Band. 05, I played for Tony Roy's Elvis Experience and the Hughes Brothers. 06, I was with #1 Hits of the 60s and Hughes Brothers, I think. Yeah, my brain, it all just kind of jumbles together.
Yeah.
I left in 07. I played a show. I was band leader on a show in Sevierville, or Pigeon Forge, known as Black Bear Jamboree at the time. Now it's something else. It's a different whole show. But I moved back to Branson in '08, played for the Haygoods and again with Tony. And then '09, oh goodness. I don't even, there's been so many. Let me just see if I'm not going to go through the years. Let's see. Cassandra Haygood, I've been with her for a number of years, probably going on a decade or more. Let's see. There's just been so many.
But you did $1 Million Quartet.
I did $1 Million Quartet, but that was after I came back the second time because I left the second time to move to Savannah, Georgia and work for a gentleman named Mike Neese, who was the producer of The Promise when it was here, as well as Lost in the 50s and Stuck on the 70s. A lot of great shows. Matter of fact, when I first moved here, Stuck on the 70s had just came out, and I just thought it was the best show in the world, and I went all the time because I thought it was just amazing.
It was very good.
That band was just incredible. But when I had the opportunity to go work for him, I did, and the following year I moved back here and worked. I think there was a short-lived 50s show that at that time the theater was called Icon, which became The Dream, which is now Retromania. But I worked in several shows in there, and then C.J. Newsom's Patsy Cline. At that time, it was Patsy Cline. Now it's evolved into a different show. But it's just been kind of a maneuvering. And when $1 Million Quartet came, I had always wanted to be part of $1 Million Quartet. I had went to Nashville and several other places to try to, get on with $1 Million Quartet, and for whatever reason, it just never worked out. So I was on a cruise ship. Well, and that's something else I've done over the past few years. I was on a cruise ship for a number of years, and I just happened to be on one when I found out, hey, $1 Million Quartet's coming to Branson, and I was like, I got to be on that show. So I did everything. I mean, but most people don't even know that I wasn't even hired on as the regular. I was hired on as the understudy, and it just kind of evolved into me ending up having the main chair. But that was a huge blessing. Yeah. And it's been a huge blessing to get to reprise that role again with $1 Million as well as on my own show.
Okay, we're going to stop right there. We'll be back in just a minute. We're going to hear about these new shows that David Brooks is in. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson, and we're here with David Brooks. And David, you are in lots of shows. You're like one of the hardest working guys, I think, in Branson. But this upcoming season, which I call the fall Christmas season, you're doing 5 different shows. That's crazy.
I know, and trust me, I'm feeling it right now, because we're fixing to hit crunch time, especially over November and December. I think I'm doing 14 performances over those 5 shows. So that should be real. I should be really tired by come January. I should be really tired.
So tell us about some of those shows.
I am currently with Delina Ditto's Country Evolution show, and it's at the Hughes Brothers. The schedule changes, so I'm not going to tell anybody the times because I really don't know for sure. It's hard to keep a scorecard of everybody in Branson, that's for sure, especially when you're doing like multiple shows with different schedules. I'm also in Cassandra, The Voice of an Angel, Cassandra Haygood's Christmas Spectacular, also at Hughes Brothers. And you can catch that, I think, on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. But I'm, let's see, the third show would be $1 Million Quartet. I'm back in $1 Million Quartet and proud to be back in $1 Million Quartet, reprising my role, because that is the best role in the show as far as I'm concerned.
And the folks need to know that it's actually out at Shepherd of the Hills. It's not at the Welk Resort anymore. And so it's a much more intimate setting.
Right.
And you can get a meal with it, too.
Yes. Absolutely. We don't, but you can.
Yeah.
But the last 2 are some that I'm extremely proud of, because I've had my hand in developing these shows, and it's just been a blast. I want to make mention first of The Hits. The Hits is a matinee show that we do on Wednesdays and Fridays that will continue on through till New Year's. And it is at the Branson Meadows Mall in the Branson Event Center. I have to think about that because name's changed. Anyways, it is a fabulous show. It's basically 60s, 70s, 80s music, but we do go a little bit beyond, and it covers the gamut. If you like any of that style of music, I promise you will love this show. We have a fabulous female vocalist in that show. She's up for Female Vocalist of the Year this year with both the Terrys and the show awards. So
and that's Phaedra, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, folks, she was on a recent episode, so you can go back in the archives and look at that if you want to see more about her.
Yes, and she's fabulous. Y'all got to come check her out. And then the other show that I am immensely proud of, I have waited a long time to do this show, On Fire, the Jerry Lee Lewis story. We were developing that show before we knew $1 Million was coming back. We had no idea, because I didn't find out till about around Christmas time that was on its way back in. And we started developing this back in October when we found out about Jerry Lee's passing. And I'd always wanted to do this show, but I needed, well, I will just say it, the lack of funds from me. I didn't want to be the one responsible for it. So when I had somebody that was willing to help me with that, that's when I said, okay, we will go ahead and do that, because I knew with the passing of Jerry Lee, that was the time to do it. You strike while the iron's hot. So we've developed a full story. It's narrated by a gentleman named Denny Erie, who's been in town for a number of years, and he does a great job at that. And we rerun the life story, and the songs are interspersed chronologically. And then we even do a special tribute to Gilly in the second half of the show, which was Jerry Lee's cousin. And I talk a little bit about my experiences with Gilly and when he came to see $1 Million Quartet at the Welk and stuff like that. So it's a really, really good show, and I really encourage people to come see it.
Yeah. So when you're doing this show, are you acting like Jerry
Yes.
Lee? And so you're like, you're
I'm
him.
I'm in the persona.
Yeah, you're in
Yes.
the persona.
Yes, I had somebody come the other night and say, wow, you were scarily like watching Jerry Lee. And I'm like, I don't know whether to say thank you or not.
Well, that sounds like a compliment to me. I mean, if you're trying to act like him, right?
And the show is up for a number of awards. The band is up for Band of the Year. The guitar player, his name is Donnie Reese Stevens. He's incredible. And he is up for guitar player with both the Terrys and the show awards. Brian Duvall is our drummer, and he also acts as MC somewhat. And he's up for drummer of the year with both the Terrys and the show awards. Our upright bass player is up as well. Oh gosh, new show of the year, tribute show of the year, tribute artist of the year. And I did snag a couple of piano player of the year nominations.
There you
as
go.
well.
There you go. There you go. Well, it's always nice to be nominated no matter what, because that means people are recognizing what you've done. And so the hits and the Jerry Lee On Fire, On Fire, the Jerry Lee Lewis life story are both at the Branson Event Center.
Yes.
And so, folks, if you don't know kind of where that is, if you know where the Branson Meadows movie theater is, it's literally right across from that. And it's a small, intimate theater, so people are going to feel really close to you, I'm guessing.
But it's very nice. It's a very nice theater. I mean, people are always surprised when they come over there and they go, wow, this is almost like new. Because it hasn't been used a whole lot.
Right. Yeah. But they're going to feel close to you.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Right.
Is it hard to get in that persona?
Not for me, because I think I'm just as crazy.
Yeah. Just as crazy.
Just in a different way.
I don't think we'll go down that direction. But you spend a big amount of your time playing Jerry Lee Lewis because you're doing it in two shows.
Right.
You know, so talk to people a little bit about $1 Million Quartet if they're not familiar with what that storyline is.
$1 Million Quartet is about the night in 1956 when Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, and Sam Phillips all ended up at Sun Studios together for the first and only time in history. And they do have a recording of that night. I'm sure people have seen it, in stores. That is mostly gospel, but they've taken dramatic license and made it into a full stage play. And it ran on Broadway for a number of years, as well as in Las Vegas and Chicago. And they've had a huge run, tours, national tours on cruise ships. They have a show that runs on Norwegian. They've had huge success with it. Matter of fact, the guy that won Jerry Lee is the only one that won the Tony Award from that show.
Well, and I think it's a really unique time in history because it captures something that really happened.
It did really happen.
And for all those entertainers to be together one night is just really interesting,
Right.
And right now I'm reading a book called The Faith of Elvis, and it's once again I'm learning about Elvis from a whole different perspective from his stepbrothers, and so anytime you can get a glimpse in those histories, it's always fascinating,
Right.
I think. And
It gives more dimension to these people to make them seem more real,
Yeah.
than just a star or a figure.
yeah. So how do you like, you have all these schedules. How do you keep on track?
Well, normally I wake up every day and go, "What day is it?" Oh, today's the day I got to go here. I'm really not a morning person, so these morning shows that are about to start again for me are not exactly my strong suit. So I'm gonna have to get used to going to bed at a decent time. But other than that, it's pretty easy. It sounds a whole lot more difficult than what it is. I just have to remember the hardest part about what I do is, okay, Great Balls of Fire, I do it in 4 out of the 5 shows. Every one of them is done in a different version, a different arrangement. So I have to remember where I'm at to know, oh, I'm not doing that part of the song here. I do it, So that's the only part. And I have caught myself doing that. I was like, crap, that's not right.
So you will also take your show on the road.
Yes.
And so if somebody wants to learn how to find you to get a show on the road, how would they do that?
I would suggest calling Janice Dickerson. She is our manager, boss, whip cracker. That's what I like to call her. She is the one that would be booking both the hits and On Fire. And her number is 417-294-6070.
Okay. Folks, we'll be back in just a second to wrap the show up.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson. We're wrapping up the show today. Thanks for sticking around. Our guest this week was David Brooks from On Fire, the Jerry Lee Lewis life story. He's also part of The Hits, another new show, and $1 Million Quartet, Delina Ditto's show, and then Cassandra as well. So lots of shows there. His main shows, though, are located over at the Branson Event Center in the shops at Branson Meadows, right across from the movie theater. The Hits plays Wednesday and Fridays, most of them at 2 p.m. On Fire is at either 2 or 7 on most Thursdays and Saturdays. And then $1 Million Quartet is 7:30s Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And then 4:30 on Sundays in November and December as well. You can also get all those full schedules at iBranson.com. Next week's artist is Kristen Dasto, a featured dancer with all the shows over at the King's Castle Theater. We look forward to talking to her next week. Now, if you need help planning your Branson vacation, be sure to visit iBranson.com or call 1-877-ENTERTAIN. You can find the latest show schedules, attractions, and lodging options all on iBranson.com. Now, here's the deal. I want to give you some of the things that are coming up here in the next couple of months here in Branson, because there's a lot of things happening. First of all, we have Country Music Day, September 8th through the 10th, with Mark Willis out at Silver Dollar City on the 8th, followed by Diamond Rio on September 9th, and then the Frontmen September 10th. Now, who are the Frontmen, you might be asking? Well, between them, this all-star trio comprises of Larry Stewart with Restless Heart, Richie McDonald of Lone Star, and Tim Rushlow of Little Texas. They've had 30 #1 hits. They've sold over 30 million albums and are the soundtrack to every Friday night honky tonk, First Kiss, and Broken Heart for the last 30 years. Fans sing the words to every song in every set, and many people have yet to know their name. Just about everybody can sing their songs, though. Now, the Oak Ridge Boys are going to be playing numerous dates at the Mansion Theater coming up, starting on September 20th and 21st. Jimmy Fortune, September 21st, he'll be in town, and Gene Watson on September 22nd. Then we go into October, and we have Larry's Country Diner coming back October 2nd through the 6th. Over at the Clay Cooper Theater, you're going to see folks like the Texas Tenors, Gene Watson, Rhonda Vincent, the Malpass Brothers, and the Isaacs. October 4th and 5th, the Oak Ridge Boys will be back in town, followed by on October 5th, Jimmy Fortune. October 6th and 8th, the Women of Joy event featuring Danny Goki will be here in town. The Oak Ridge Boys come back on October 11th and 12th. October 12th, Jimmy Fortune. October 13th, Ricky Skaggs comes back to town, followed by October 14th, the Gatlin Brothers. October 18th and 19th, the Oak Ridge Boys. October 19th, Jimmy Fortune. The Bellany Brothers make an appearance at the Mansion Theater on October 20th, followed by Gene Watson on the 21st. And then we have a big Praise Fest Fall Retreat, October 23rd through the 25th over at the Mansion Theater. And then the Isaacs perform on October 25th, followed by Jimmy Fortune on October 26th. The Oak Ridge Boys come back the end of October on the 26th and 27th. And then Paul Harris and the Cleverleys close out October on October 28th. You know, music is always better live, so go see some live music this week. That's it for today. We'll see you next week on Play Branson.